Hello, and welcome back to Storytime with Eric Zimmer. We're now up to Book 3 of the George and Martha series. Now, they have their current design, as was used in the later books, the front cover here, and in the 1999 TV series, which I'll talk about when I finish the story. So, here we go. The third book in the series, George, from 1976, George and Martha, Book 3, George and Martha, Rise and Shine. Notice their teeth are a little wider, and Martha now has her trademark flower in her head. 5 stories about 2 fine friends. You ready? All right, let's begin. Story number 1, The Fibber. One day, George wanted to impress Martha. "I used to be a champion jumper," he said. Martha raised an eyebrow. "And," said George, "I used to be a wicked pirate." Said Martha. George tried harder. "Once I was even a famous snake charmer." "Oh, goody," said Martha. Martha went to the closet and got out Sam. "Here's a snake for you to charm." "Eek!" cried George, and he jumped right out of his chair. "It's only a toy stuffed snake," said Martha. "I'm surprised a famous snake charmer is such a scaredy cat." "I told some fibs," said George. "For shame," said Martha. "But you can't say, 'What a good jumper I am,'" said George. "That's true," said Martha. "I'm surprised that chandelier isn't breaking under his weight." Oh, never mind that. Story number 2, The Experiment. Martha was in her laboratory. Madame Canary, inventor of birdseed. "What are you doing?" asked George. "I'm studying fleas," said Martha. "Cute little critter," said George. "You don't understand," said Martha. "This is serious. This is science." The next day, George noticed that Martha was scratching a lot. She looked uncomfortable. "Let me guess. It's the fleas." George bought Martha some special soap. After her shower, Martha felt much better. "I think I'll stop studying fleas," said Martha. "Good idea," said George. "I think I'll study bees instead," said Martha. "Oh dear," said George. "Also, it might be in my imagination, but Martha for some reason looks taller with that robe." She and George are like around the same height, really. Story number 3, The Picnic. Bunker Hill. On Saturday morning, George wanted to sleep late. "I love sleeping late," said George. "Don't we all?" But Martha had other ideas. She wanted to go on a picnic. "Here she comes," said George to himself. Martha did her best to get George out of bed. "Picnic time," sang Martha, but George didn't budge. Martha played a tune on her saxophone. George put little balls of cotton in his ears and pulled up the covers. I didn't know Martha played the saxophone. She's not going to give up on George, I'll tell you that. Martha tickled George's toes. "Stop it," said George. "Picnic time," sang Martha. "But I'm not going on a picnic," said George. "Oh, yes, you are," said his friend Martha. Martha had a clever idea. "This is such hard work," she said, huffing and puffing. "But I'm not going to help," said George. "I'm getting tired," said Martha. George had fun on the picnic. "I'm so glad we came," said George. But Martha wasn't listening. She had fallen asleep. I wonder why. Story number 4. The Scary Movie. Vincent Creepo in The Mummy's Toe. Tickets only 5 cents? Movie tickets were never that cheap. Not even, well, maybe during the 1930s, but not the 1970s. Oh well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Martha was nervous. I've never been to a scary movie before. Silly goose, said George. Everyone likes scary movies. Well, that depends. I hope I don't faint, said Martha. Martha liked the scary movie. This is fun, she giggled. Martha noticed that George was hiding under his seat. I'm looking for my glasses, said George. You don't wear glasses, said Martha. When the movie was over, George was as white as a sheet. Hold my hand, George said to Martha. I don't want you to be afraid walking home. Thank you, said Martha. And the last story, The Secret Club. Where are you going, George? Asked Martha. I'm going to my secret club, said George. I'll come along, said Martha. Oh no, said George, it's a secret club. But you can let me in, said Martha. No, I can't, said George, and he went on his way. Martha was furious. Uh-oh. When George was inside his secret clubhouse, Martha made a terrible fuss. In reality, she could break through the the roof, due to her weight. You let me in, she shouted. No, said George. Yes, yes, cried Martha. No, no, said George. I'm coming in whether you like it or not, cried Martha. Oh, the Martha Fan Club. George, president. When Martha saw the inside of George's clubhouse, she was so ashamed. You old sweetheart, she said to George. George smiled. I hope you've learned your lesson. I certainly have, said his friend Martha. The end of Book 3. I'll see you next time for Book 4.